Hello, everyone, and welcome to Life Stories 1. We're so excited to have you join us on this journey as we explore the incredible stories that shape our lives. From heartwarming tales of triumph to inspiring stories of resilience, we'll be sharing it all right here. If you're passionate about real-life stories that move and inspire, you've come to the right place. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a new story. Let's dive in. It was a crisp Monday morning in late fall, the kind where the air bites just enough to wake you up, when 14-year-old Aaliyah Johnson stepped through the towering glass doors of Oakwood Bank. She wore her Westridge Academy uniform, a navy blazer, pleated skirt, and scuffed loafers, carrying a weight of pride and nerves. Today wasn't just any day. It was the day she'd deposit her first solo check, a $5,000 scholarship earned through late nights, endless essays, and a relentless drive to prove herself. That check, crisp and official in her folder, wasn't just money. It was her ticket to independence, a symbol of everything she'd worked for without leaning on her parents. The bank's polished marble floors gleamed under chandelier light, and the faint hum of wealth buzzed around her. Businessmen in tailored suits, retirees with leather briefcases, all moving with purpose. Aaliyah clutched her folder tighter, her heart thudding as she joined the line, rehearsing the steps in her head. Hand over the check, show her ID, sign the slip. Simple. Or so she thought. Behind the counter, Margaret Stone, the bank manager, stood like a queen surveying her kingdom. In her late 40s, Margaret was a vision of control, sharp blazer, sleek bun, and an air of superiority that seemed to radiate from her perfectly manicured nails. She'd climbed the ranks at Oakwood Bank with a ruthless eye for detail and an unspoken rule. Only the right people belonged here. As Aaliyah stepped up to the teller, Margaret's gaze locked onto her, narrowing slightly. The teller, Daniel, a lanky guy in his early 20s with a nervous smile, took the check from Aaliyah's trembling hand. $5,000? He said, louder than necessary, glancing at Margaret. Aaliyah nodded, pushing her award letter and ID across the counter. It's my scholarship from Westridge Academy. I've got all the paperwork. Her voice was steady, but her palms were sweaty. Margaret glided over, her heels clicking like a metronome of judgment. A check this size, she said, her tone sharp enough to cut glass. For someone your age? Where'd you get it? The question hung in the air, drawing curious glances from nearby customers, a middle-aged woman clutching her pearls, a man in a pinstripe suit pausing mid-signature. Aaliyah's cheeks burned. It's my scholarship, she repeated, sliding the documents closer. I earned it. Margaret didn't even look at the papers. We've been seeing a lot of fraud lately, she said, her voice dripping with disdain as she plucked the check from Daniel's hand and held it to the light, squinting like she was decoding a secret message. Daniel shifted uncomfortably, his eyes darting between Aaliyah and his boss. I'll need to verify this, Margaret declared, turning away without a second glance. Aaliyah's stomach dropped. Wait, I just need to deposit it. Everything's there, she called, but Margaret was already halfway across the lobby, her posture screaming dismissal. Panic crept in as Aaliyah patted her bag. No phone. She'd left it in her locker after a rushed morning. I need to call my mom, she said, her voice cracking. She's expecting me home soon. Margaret spun around, her lips curling into a sneer. That's not our problem, sweetheart. You'll wait until we're done. The word sweetheart landed like a slap, and Aaliyah froze, the sting of it echoing in her chest. Left standing by the counter, she felt the room close in, whispers rippling through the crowd, eyes boring into her back. A woman muttered, "Kids these days," while a man chuckled softly. The marble beneath her feet grew colder with every passing second. Aaliyah wasn't your average teenager. Raised in Oakwood's ritziest neighborhood, she lived in a home that whispered wealth, elegant but never flashy, with hardwood floors and bookshelves instead of gold-plated nonsense. Her mother, Dr. Evelyn Johnson, was a financial titan, a black woman who'd clawed her way to the top of a cutthroat industry, now running one of the country's most respected firms. Evelyn didn't just teach Aaliyah about money. She drilled into her the power of hard work, independence, and using privilege for good. Success isn't handed to you, she'd say, her voice warm but firm. You earn it and you share it. Aaliyah lived by that creed, acing her classes at Westridge Academy, a school known for chewing up slackers and spitting them out. Her scholarship wasn't a gift from her mom's connections. It was hers, won through grit and sleepless nights. Her friends marveled at how she juggled school, debate club, and a weekend gig tutoring younger kids. But Aaliyah loved the grind. It was her way of proving she didn't need a safety net. That morning, over breakfast, Evelyn had paused her work, spreadsheets strewn across the table, to check on her. "You sure you don't want me to tag along?" she'd asked, her eyes soft with concern. Aaliyah grinned. "I've got this, Mom. I'm 14. It's time I handle it." Evelyn smiled back, pride flickering in her gaze, though a shadow of worry lingered. "All right, but call if you need me." Aaliyah had nodded, slipping the check into her folder, never imagining she'd end up stranded in a bank, phoneless and humiliated. Minutes stretched into an hour, then 2. Aaliyah stood in the lobby, a statue amid the chaos. Tellers typing, phones ringing, customers breezing through. She watched Margaret fawn over an elderly couple in designer coats, personally escorting them to a private room with coffee and smiles. A young Latino man with a thick accent approached the counter next, his paperwork neat and ready. Margaret waved him off. "System's slow today. Come back later," she said, her tone flat. He left, shoulders slumped. But when a white couple strolled in minutes later, Margaret lit up like a Christmas tree. "Let me handle that for you right away," she cooed, practically skipping to assist them. Aaliyah's chest tightened. This wasn't just bad service. It was a pattern, a game of favorites, where she didn't make the cut. Her sharp eyes caught every detail, the way Margaret's smile vanished when she glanced her way, the way Daniel avoided her gaze, scribbling notes like he was solving a crime. She wanted to scream, to demand respect, but her father's voice echoed in her mind. "Stay cool under pressure, Aaliyah. They'll trip over their own ropes." So she stood, fists clenched, swallowing the rage as the whispers grew louder, some pitying, some mocking. "What's she even doing here?" someone hissed. The clock ticked on, mocking her patience. Then Margaret's voice sliced through the air, low and commanding, aimed at a burly security guard named Tony. "Keep an eye on her. Make sure she doesn't bolt." Aaliyah's heart slammed against her ribs. Bolt? She wasn't a thief. She was a kid with a check. Tony loomed closer, his shadow swallowing her small frame. "Move to the back," he grunted, gripping her arm just tight enough to make her wince. He marched her across the lobby, every head turning, some gawking, some pretending not to see. "Stand here," he barked, planting her in a corner near the vault, visible but out of the way. Aaliyah crossed her arms, chin high, but inside she was crumbling. Hours dragged by, her legs aching, her mind racing. She'd come here to deposit her future, and now she was a prisoner in a suit-and-tie circus. But Aaliyah wasn't one to wallow. She scanned the room, piecing together the puzzle. Margaret's snide comments, the favoritism, the way Tony kept glancing at her like she might sprint for the exit. Then something caught her eye. Margaret, heels clicking, slipped into a side office with a tall man in a charcoal suit. He carried himself like he owned the place, and Margaret was all smiles, handing him a manila folder stamped "Confidential." Aaliyah's breath hitched. She knew that face. Richard Carter, CEO of Meridian Banking, her mom's biggest rival. Evelyn had mentioned him once, over dinner, her tone clipped. He'd sell his soul to sink us. Aaliyah's pulse raced. This wasn't just about her anymore. She strained to hear, catching fragments. "Data, merger," before Margaret's voice dropped to a whisper. Richard nodded, flipping through the folder, a smug grin spreading across his face. Aaliyah's mind spun. That folder wasn't bank policy. It was betrayal. A dagger aimed at her mom's company. She fumbled for her leather-bound notebook, a habit from debate club, and scribbled everything. The time, 2:47 p.m. The names, Margaret Stone, Richard Carter. The folder, the vibes. Her hands shook, but her resolve hardened. She wasn't just a victim now. She was a witness. As Richard left, briefcase swinging, Margaret's eyes landed on Aaliyah, narrowing like a hawk spotting prey. Why's she still here? Us? She hissed to Daniel, who shrugged helplessly. Get her out of sight! Tony grabbed Aaliyah again, shoving her into a cramped storage room, mops, files, flickering light. Stay put, he growled, locking the door. Alone, Aaliyah sank against the wall, notebook clutched to her chest. She'd seen too much, and Margaret knew it. Fear mingled with fury, but a spark lit inside her. She had the truth, and she'd use it. The lock clicked hours later, and the door swung open. Dr. Evelyn Johnson stood there, a vision of calm fury. Tailored coat, piercing eyes, radiating power. Tony stepped back, mumbling, Ma'am? Evelyn ignored him, zeroing in on Aaliyah. Baby, are you okay? She asked, her voice soft but edged with steel. Aaliyah nodded, fighting tears. I'm fine, Mom, but you need to hear this. She thrust her notebook forward, spilling everything. The discrimination, the waiting, Richard Carter's folder. Evelyn's jaw tightened with every word, her composure a thin veil over boiling rage. Margaret rushed over, all fake smiles. Dr. Johnson, what a surprise! How can I assist? Evelyn turned, her gaze ablade. You can start with an apology to my daughter, then explain why you're handing confidential files to Richard Carter. The bank froze. Tellers stopped typing, customers gaped. Margaret's face drained of color. I don't know what you mean, she stammered. Evelyn stepped closer. Don't play dumb. You've been sabotaging my firm. This isn't just bias, it's espionage. Margaret opened her mouth, but Evelyn cut her off. You're done. Fired. Now. Tony hesitated, then escorted Margaret out, her heels dragging as her empire collapsed. Evelyn faced the room. This bank will be gutted and rebuilt. No one will endure what my daughter did. The fallout was swift. An investigation uncovered Margaret's dirty deals, leaked client lists, fake fraud claims to delay competitors, a trail of bias stretching years. Oakwood Bank revamped its staff, launched equity training, even hired Daniel as a junior manager after he apologized to Aaliyah, admitting he'd been too scared to speak up. Aaliyah's story spread. She spoke at Westridge, her voice steady as she shared her ordeal, pushing for fairness and financial literacy. Classmates cheered. Teachers nodded. She'd turned shame into strength, her mom's courage lighting the way. Months later, standing in the rebuilt bank lobby, now brighter, warmer, Aaliyah deposited her check. No whispers, no stares, just respect. Here's the lesson. Aaliyah's journey shows that adversity doesn't define us. Our response does. When the world pushes you down, dig deeper, stand taller, and fight smarter. Courage isn't loud, it's steady. Truth isn't weak. It's a weapon. And change? It starts with one voice refusing to break. We don't just survive injustice, we reshape it, for ourselves and everyone watching.